Hello and welcome into LMU Community TV News. I'm Adam Haley. Thank you for being with us. According to Sheriff David Ray, no guns were found at Claiborne High School following an alleged gun threat that locked the school down on Friday. A complaint was made early Friday morning, and Assistant Director of Schools, Bob Oakes, stated that the complaint was acted on and safety of the students was top priority. According to Sheriff Ray, a parent called 911 after their student received a text message that stated not to go to school, and the incident grew. The school system went into their procedures that included the lockdown while the school was searched. Following the initial 911 call, a student reported two strange people getting out of their vehicle in the parking lot. Ray states that the two people were not students but were there to pick up a student. Social media reported the two were arrested, but according to Ray, the two were just taken to the Justice Center, questioned, and then released. At approximately 11:30 Friday morning, the school was dismissed following a complete search of students and vehicles. Law enforcement agencies, including the New Tazewell and Tazewell Police Departments and the Claiborne County Sheriff's Office, were on the scene and worked together to ensure a complete search of the school was done and all procedures were followed. An active investigation is ongoing into the origin of the text message. We will continue to follow the story and bring you more information as it is made available. Last Thursday, Dr. Pete DeBusk, chairman of the Board of Trustees of Lincoln Memorial University, announced a new medical training program with the launch of the Doctor of Medical Science degree. The program is the only one of its kind in the U.S. and bridges the gap between physician and physician assistant training for the development of a new type of doctorally trained provider to aid Appalachia and other undeserved areas dealing with a healthcare shortage.
Needs we have in Appalachia, which is greatly underserved. The only way we can really get the quality up is to try to take and produce more people qualified to be doctors. And so this was an excellent opportunity to take the training that the PA has, increase the training through a formal process, get the degree Doctor of Medical Science to allow them to go and practice medicine on their own in these rural areas.
The university has received approval from the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges. The program will accept the first group of students in the fall of 2016. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is continuing to ask for the public's help in locating a man that was added to the Tennessee Top 10 Most Wanted list as a suspected child rapist. Rick James Brock of New Tazewell is wanted on 4 counts of rape of a child and 4 counts of aggravated assault with a firearm. 51-year-old Brock has brown hair and brown eyes. He is 5'10" and weighs around 206 pounds. He has a tattoo of a lion on his right arm. The Claiborne County man has a violent criminal history and should be considered armed and dangerous. Anyone with information on Rick James Brock is urged to call the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND or 1-800-824-3463. There is a $1,000 reward being offered for information leading to his arrest. Lincoln Memorial University celebrated Martin Luther King Day with a series of events on campus. Festivities kicked off with a reception and display at the Carnegie Vincent Library. The display featured books and writings by and about Dr. King, along with items from the Abraham Lincoln Library and Museum. The celebration also included a candlelight campus march that began at the Chinook Chapel, followed by a screening of the film Selma, which chronicled Dr. King's 1965 Civil Rights March from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama. Now, coming up after break, the Pet of the Week is back, and you do not want to miss this week's furry friend that is available for adoption. So keep it right here on LMU Community TV News.
I come from a big family. I'm the oldest of 6. To me, being the first person to go to college, it's like setting a standard, you know? My little brother is 8 years old now. I challenge his curiosity. I challenge him to dream. I have to paint a picture for him that he can look up to and live up to and possibly be better than. My name is Jaquez, and I am your dividend.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Dare you. Dare you to change the world. Yeah, you. Getting that college education.
I dare you to be somebody important.
Like be a teacher. Or a reality TV star.
Dare you to stand up here.
To call the shots.
To be a role model.
An inspiration. An innovator.
To be a teacher.
Think you can change my life?
Make me excited about science like you.
Have a career that really means something?
Do it.
I dare you.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
Get some drinks!
Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
You go and step out of the vehicle for me?
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Welcome back. The Cumberland Gap National Park is in the process of updating the Park Fire Management Plan. To explain more about what the fire assessment consists of, we turn to Chief Ranger Gene Weslow to help us out.
Fire management plan for the park is really a document the park will use to manage wildfires in the park. It'll address a lot of different issues, including the wilderness. The park's got 14,000 acres of recommended wilderness. It's treated as wilderness, and the whole park is 24,000 plus acres. It's going to address different ways the park will manage fires, whether they are wildfires that start from a natural ignition or fires that start that are management ignited, what we call prescribed burns. Addressing different issues such as we have a lot of interface with urban areas on our park boundaries, and there's some concern there with fuel buildup, dead and down wood that accumulates over the years. And the park has always had a full suppression program. In other words, a wildfire that starts is always put out, and over the years that's resulted in a lot of fuel buildup, and we've had a lot of natural die-off in the trees, such as created by exotic insects like the emerald ash borer, the most recent one we've had come through. We're concerned about wildfire getting started in there and then affecting our neighbors. We look at areas like that. We call that a wildland-urban interface issue. There are also some other ecological issues that the management plan will address. This total suppression over decades has also caused kind of a shift in the overall mosaic of the species that are found in the park, and started shifting more toward less fire tolerant species, some of the thinner bark trees like the maples and the beech trees becoming more dominant, and some of the more fire tolerant species, the pines and such, being less prevalent than they would be under normal conditions if fires were allowed to burn where they start.
The current plan does not allow use of unplanned ignitions for resource benefits in appropriate zones in the park. To explain controlled burns and what the plan outlines now, here is Shane Sturgill.
Doing controlled burns for a lot of different reasons. We've been doing controlled burns since 2003, I believe, and we have different areas that we've treated regularly, sometimes as many as 3 different times. A lot of that is on our boundaries. It is for a lot of the fuel load reduction, which means all the dead and down, the thick mat of leaves, we're reducing that fuel load. So if we do have a start there and it's in, say, weather parameters are not really their worst case scenario, it's not a start that's going to do tree mortality, where it's going to do a lot of damage to all the vegetation and create an open space. A lot of that is on our boundaries, so if we have a start in the park, it won't go out of our boundaries. A lot of it's looking at the urban interface, where we have a lot of building sites, homes, and different people building up against the park boundaries. So for the same principle, if they have a fire and it escapes their property and comes in the park, so we're trying to manage those areas. And also for resource benefit, it is a tool that's used for promoting species to regenerate. It is a good habitat for the wildlife that's here in the park.
An environmental assessment will be prepared along with the fire management plan to analyze the effects of the fire management activities on the human environment and provide an opportunity for public input with accordance with the National Environmental Policy Act of 1969. During this public scoping period before the preparation of the environmental assessment, the park is seeking the public's thoughts concerning this update of the fire management plan.
To hear people's opinions about fire in the park, I know some folks are for it, some folks are against it. You know, we have smoke management issues that we have to deal with. We have a lot of endangered species here that we have to manage for the smoke, fire, certain times of the year that we can only put fire on the ground. So we want to hear folks' opinions on how they feel about if we do have a start in a park, that if we let that burn, what do folks think about that? We want to hear opinions. There may be things out there that we're not even thinking about. You know, there may be concerns of folks that we want to hear, and so we can assure folks that if we do have a start in the park and we decide to manage that we're, you know, it's in everybody's best interest. I mean, we're not going to let something come out of the park and do damage to personal property, things of that nature. So we're wanting to use this as a tool. The natives used it years ago. The settlers here used fire as a tool for clearing off their fields, opening up their vegetation areas, and knocking back that encroachment, and we still are wanting to use that as a tool here in the park today, or for future generations.
Comments can be submitted online and should be submitted by February 3rd of 2016. Questions concerning this project can be addressed to the superintendent or by connecting with Chief Ranger Gene Weslow by 606-246-1054. The Lincoln Memorial University Mary Annan Pool adjacent to the Mary Mars Gymnasium will be holding its grand opening on this Friday. The pool opened for limited use last December while additional staff was hired. The pool closed following damages from a storm in April of 2014. Over time, the storm damage was repaired, a new pool liner was installed, and the pump and heater were both refurbished. The grand opening will include a Water Olympics hosted by Student Services on Friday. Next week, the staff will have an open house for faculty, students, and guests from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Swimming lessons will begin being offered on January 26th. Pool memberships are available to community members for $75 a semester, which includes all aquatic classes except for swimming lessons. LMU students, faculty, staff, and their immediate families can access the pool for free with an LMU identification card. For a full schedule of pool events, you can log on to the Lincoln Memorial University website. That's lmunet.edu. Pink Out for Black Year 8 at Claiborne High School is just around the corner. The annual event is scheduled for Thursday, January 28th, and will be the 8th annual Pink Out Cancer Awareness Ball Game. Shirts are already on sale at Claiborne High School, It's My Party, and at Sunloan. Tickets are also being sold for a commemorative Pink Out quilt. So be sure to buy your shirts for $10 and your chance to win the quilt for $1 each. Claiborne High hopes to see you at this year's game. And with the new year, that means we have new pets from the Claiborne Animal Shelter to show off and hopefully find their forever family and home. Last fall, LMU Community TV and the Claiborne Animal Shelter joined forces to bring you the Pet of the Week segment. These furry faces are available for adoption at the Animal Shelter. So let's introduce you to this week's Pet of the Week.
Hey everyone, today Liza from the Claiborne Animal Shelter has brought with her Brandy. So tell us a little bit about Brandy.
Well, Brandy is about a year old.
Okay.
And she's house trained and she's spayed. And right now she's really nervous. She's got stage fright. And she was an owner surrender. So we're not really sure why the people brought her into the shelter. Usually it's because they can't take care of them anymore.
Right.
But she's as you can see, she's a very laid back little dog.
Mm-hmm.
She's very quiet. She's a little scared. She just got moved to a different kennel at the shelter. She's been moved to our adoption floor.
Okay.
Right. If you're ready to go home, she loves to give kisses. And maybe she'll give you a kiss too, if you're lucky.
Probably.
She's got a little stubby tail.
Okay.
Like a boxer.
She's got a very soft coat.
Yes, she does. And she's really a sweet little girl. I think from the way she's acting right now, I'd say that she could go into a home where people give her some time to get used to the place, get used to being around people. You know, we don't know what kind of situation she came from, so she might be a little bit scared. Right? You're really ready to love someone.
Okay, how long has she been with the shelter?
We've had her for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
So she's had, of course, all her shots, and she's had her flea treatment, and she'll be microchipped before she goes home.
Okay.
So she's a sweet girl, and I'm really in love.
Okay.
Give everybody your best look now.
Yes.
There
you go.
There you go.
So what would the typical family need to be like for her to, you know, acclimate to?
I'd say older children who would understand that she needs time to get used to the family. And I would guess that after she does get used to the family, she would be somebody that would enjoy going on a walk. She'd need a fenced yard. Right now, going on a walk, she gets down on her belly and kind of slithers. So I think she would get past that, though.
Yeah.
After she's not scared.
Walks are good.
Yeah.
Walks are
So just a family that would respect her shyness and her need to really get used to the family and feel trust in them.
Okay.
And I think, you know, they'd have to take her out to go potty because she is potty trained.
Okay.
Right? And see, she's already feeling better just being sitting here with us.
Yeah. So how would a family go about adopting Miss Brandy?
Well, we have an online adoption application at claiborneanimalshelter.com. And then, or they can come in and meet her and bring the family. We do recommend that they bring the family along. If you have other dogs, bring the other dogs along.
Okay.
And meet her, and then the adoption fee is $150.
Okay.
But that would be covering that she's completely up to date on her shots, she's spayed, and she'll be microchipped. And you get a wonderful, wonderful new friend for your family.
Yes.
It has to be a family that loves doggy kisses.
Yes, because she's given you a lot. I don't think she likes the taste of my makeup.
That's right. I don't wear any, so.
Yeah. All right, so.
See, that's it.
Yeah.
It has to be a family that doesn't wear makeup.
There you go. So don't wear makeup if you want Brandy. All right, so if you want to make Brandy a part of your family, go online or go visit the Claiborne Animal Shelter and see if you want to take this sweet little girl home with you today.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
College. It can seem a million miles away. But what if you could get help with your tuition expenses? Get help filling out all those applications and finding a major that fits. All of a sudden, the impossible becomes possible. Visit collegefortn.org today. College. You can get there from here.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
The LMU men's and women's basketball teams spent this past weekend in Salisbury, North Carolina as they faced Catawba College. The LMU women, coming off a heartbreaking double overtime loss to Anderson, were looking to right the ship and continue their push toward a home tournament game for March. The ladies got the game started quick, using the first 5 minutes to jump out to a 13-5 lead before ending the first quarter leading 15-8. After a slow start, the Indians fought back and got as close as 2 in the first half before ending the half on a 13-10 run to lead at the break 28-23. Just 14 seconds into the second half, LMU's Megan Pittman would hit a layup to put LMU up by 7 before the Indians made their run. Catawba took the lead with 2:31 left in the third before leading after 3, 42-38. They led us by as many as 6 on 3 different occasions in the fourth before LMU came back. Brittany Guy hit a 3 with 29 seconds remaining to give LMU the lead, and then free throws from Guy, Pittman, and Shea Coker sealed the win 64-60. Guy led LMU with a career-high 23 points, while Shea Coker added 15 off the bench. With the win, LMU improved to 9-6 overall and 6-4 in conference play, which puts them in a tie with Carson Newman, Wingate, and Mars Hill for third place. The LMU men were coming in off an impressive win over Anderson and looking to stay perfect in conference action. They started the game on a 9-4 run but could never separate themselves from Catawba until Jarrell Simmons hit a layup with 4 minutes to go in the first half that sparked a 13-4 run to send LMU to the locker room leading 39-22. The second half was not much better for the homestanding Indians as they battled hard and got as close as 9 points down with 12 minutes to go. But LMU would shoot nearly 52% in the second half and pulled away for the win 82-64. Simmons led LMU in scoring with 21 points, while Luquan Choice added 19. LMU improved to 14-2 overall and 10-0 in South Atlantic Conference, which still has them in first place by a game over Queens. Both teams will be back in action this Thursday night when they play host to Tusculum College. The women will tip off at a special start time of 5:30 p.m., and the men are scheduled to tip at 8 p.m. Both games will be carried by the LMU Sports Network on 91.3 FM, WLMU, and LMU Community TV, with pregame starting at 5:10 p.m. The men's game will be broadcast regionally, also on MyVLT out of Knoxville. Cumberland Gap High School is looking for just their 4th head football coach in school history after news broke last week that Corey Russell has resigned. According to Principal Linda Keck, Russell will stay on at the school as a teacher. Russell went 3-27 during his 3 years at Cumberland Gap, but the Panthers went 0-10 this past season and ended the season riding an 18-game losing streak, which is the 3rd longest active streak in Tennessee. The search for the next Panthers coach has already begun. The NFL playoffs continued this past weekend with the divisional round. In the AFC, the New England Patriots defeated the Kansas City Chiefs 27-20 on Saturday to advance to their 5th straight AFC championship game. Tom Brady finished the game 28-42 for 302 yards and 2 touchdowns. The other AFC divisional matchup saw the Denver Broncos defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers 23-16. Broncos kicker Brandon McManus tied an NFL playoff record with 5 field goals, including one from 51 yards, to push the Broncos into the AFC Championship for the first time since 2014. The AFC Championship game will be played in Denver on Sunday. In the NFC, the Arizona Cardinals advanced after knocking off Green Bay in overtime 26-20. Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers hit Jeff Janis at the end of regulation on a 41-yard Hail Mary to send the game into overtime. The Cardinals won the coin toss, and 3 plays later, Carson Palmer hit Larry Fitzgerald on a shovel pass to win. The other NFC divisional games saw the Carolina Panthers continue their dream season with a win over Seattle 31-24. The Panthers had to hold on after scoring the first 31 points of the game in the first half, only to see the Seahawks come back. Sunday will be the first conference championship game for Arizona since 2009, while 2006 was the last time the Panthers were in the conference championship. This year's game will be the first conference championship hosted in Charlotte, North Carolina by the Panthers. Now that's all for sports, but stay tuned. It's time to find out what movie finally knocked off Star Wars in the box office, and with that report, here's Joseph Lewis.
Hello, I'm Joseph Lewis, bringing you all the latest information in the world of movies. Tops at the box office this weekend and dethroning Star Wars after 4 weeks at #1 was Ride Along 2, opening to $34 million despite largely negative critical reception. Although this is a solid starting figure, it comes up short in comparison to the first Ride Along, which made its debut in January of 2014 to the tune of $41 million. Following at #2 for the second week in a row was The Revenant, adding $29 million onto its now $87 million domestic gross in the wake of much critical hype and awards season buzz. The film has a ways to go toward recouping its sizable $135 million budget, but its recent Golden Globe wins, its multiple Oscar nominations, and its star power in the form of Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy basically guarantees The Revenant's long-term success. And rounding out the top 3 was the veritable movie of the moment, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, adding $25 million onto its astonishing $851 million domestic gross. Over the past 2 weeks, The Force Awakens overtook Avatar's $760 million gross to become the United States' highest-grossing film ever, and even when the numbers are adjusted for inflation, The Force Awakens still lands in the all-time top 20, ahead of Avatar as well as other entries into the Star Wars franchise, including classics The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Worldwide, the film has totaled more than $1.8 billion, now placing within the all-time top 3 behind James Cameron's 1-2 punch of Avatar and Titanic. With several weeks left to go in its worldwide theatrical run, The Force Awakens can be expected to top Titanic's $2.1 billion, though Avatar's $2.7 billion may exceed even the extensive grasp of Star Wars. For more information on the film's continuing box office success, be sure to visit www.boxofficemojo.com. As for the weekend's other new releases, Michael Bay's action thriller 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi kicked off with $16 million, an opening number that is low for its director, but respectable nonetheless, considering that its serious subject matter is going up against heavy competition from the likes of lighter fare like Ride Along 2 and The Force Awakens. However, if distributor Paramount had ambitions of achieving the runaway success experienced by the similarly themed January releases Lone Survivor and American Sniper, hopes are not high. Meanwhile, Splash Entertainment's Norm of the North took only $6 million, inhibited by a lack of marketing, an even bigger lack of audience-drawing voice talent, and iffy reactions from critics and audiences alike. Other titles, including The Big Short, Sisters, and The Hateful Eight, are all on the downswing financially, and last week's major release, The Forest, is quickly joining those ranks as of this weekend, adding a small $5 million onto its $21 million domestic gross. This past Thursday, the nominations for the 2016 Academy Awards were announced, and leading the pack was The Revenant with 12 nods, including Best Picture, Director, and Actor, while Mad Max Fury Road closely followed with 10, including Best Picture, Director, and multiple technical awards. In addition to those two, the Best Picture category was filled out by the financial crisis comedy The Big Short, Spielberg's Cold War thriller Bridge of Spies, the romantic coming-of-age story Brooklyn, Ridley Scott's survival saga The Martian, the harrowing and heartbreaking Room, and Tom McCarthy's quietly tense journalism drama Spotlight. Joining Leonardo DiCaprio in his quest for the Best Actor trophy are Matt Damon for The Martian, Michael Fassbender for Steve Jobs, last year's winner Eddie Redmayne for The Danish Girl, and a surprise nod for Bryan Cranston's work in Trumbo. Vying for Best Actress are Cate Blanchett for Carol, Brie Larson for Room, Jennifer Lawrence for Joy, Charlotte Rampling for The Little Scene 45 Years, and Saoirse Ronan for Brooklyn. The always interesting Best Supporting Actor category is headlined by Christian Bale for The Big Short, Tom Hardy for The Revenant, Mark Ruffalo for Spotlight, Mark Rylance for Bridge of Spies, and Sylvester Stallone for Creed. In the race for Best Supporting Actress are Jennifer Jason Leigh for The Hateful Eight, Rooney Mara for Carol, Rachel McAdams for Spotlight, Alicia Vikander for The Danish Girl, and Golden Globe winner Kate Winslet for Steve Jobs. Finally, the Best Director contest is a bit of an anomaly in that Ridley Scott for The Martian and Quentin Tarantino for The Hateful Eight were shut out in favor of smaller scale work, including Adam McKay for The Big Short, Lenny Abramson for Room, and Tom McCarthy for Spotlight, while the expected nominations arrived for George Miller and Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu for the visually lavish Mad Max Fury Road and The Revenant, respectively. For a complete list of the Oscar categories and nominations, you can visit www.oscar.go.com, and be sure to tune in for the 88th Annual Academy Awards on Sunday, February 28th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That's all for today in the world of movies. I'm Joseph Lewis.
That's going to do it for this week's edition of LMU Community TV News. I'm Adam Haley. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you Thursday.